Can
I
go.
really wish Zoom like handled those pop-up bars better. Just they feel so like intrusive and in the way. Um, so when I was going through kind of context, I realized that everyone here has probably done context before. So it's like, oh, okay. So Rian, have you not done
I,
context?
I haven't touched it. I've read the
Or you
docs, but
haven't?
I haven't played with it at all.
Okay. Okay, so that's useful. I thought I was going to be preaching to the choir. Um, so um, for um, for context, context is an easy means of just sharing variables or sharing functions across varying components. Now, like especially when it comes to sharing variables, you can do things like passing it just down from props. So let's just say I've got, sorry, let me build up my screen a bit. And let me actually do this across here. Let's say I've got this, this kind of index homepage or this main file. And within this main file, um, I've got a use states kind of, well, I've got a variable Dojo color. And for Dojo color, I'm using use state. So I can set the Dojo color and I can set it here. Whenever I change Dojo color, I could, if I wanted to send this Dojo color down to one of the child elements or one of the components within this page, I could send it as a prop. So I could say button color equals Dojo color. And you can easily pass through the color using a prop, and it can go through and, it's like, okay, great, I can send things back and forth. But one of the issues that can arise is if you've got a whole lot of different variables that you need to send through. So let's say it wasn't just Dojo color, maybe you had like tons of different settings that you needed to pass um, into this child button component. That's when you start running into an issue. And what if you have to send all of these to all the different components? That's when you can run into an issue. And that's where context works quite well. And how context works is um, you kind of create a context provider. And in this sense, it's this kind of encasing tag. And then within the space, all the elements can use this context and can get values from this context. So I'm just trying to think, where should I start? Well, let's actually go through kind of the main players in this project. So I've got the main index file, and then I've got a heading, which you'll see here. I've got a button which sits within this page. It's just a plain button called index button. And when I click on this index button, it changes the color of the heading to teal. So you can see here when I click this button, it changes the set Dojo color to teal. So that works there. Then I've got two more components. I've got a child button component and a child form component. So here's child button and the child form component. And by using context, I can insert elements into these different components. So in this case, what I've done is I've created this Dojo context, Dojo context provider, and I'm going to take this set Dojo color function and I put it in the value, and this kind of passes the set Dojo color into these components. And another thing, sorry, I missed this out, but another file that I had to set up was this Dojo context component. So within here, I import this function from React, create context. I create the variable Dojo context, and I use the create context function, and then I export Dojo context. So within index, this is where I'm importing that Dojo context component. And that Dojo context component kind of creates like a strand between all these components that you're using. So in this space here, you use Dojo context dot provider, and we're going to use this this kind of tag as the provider, so that all the elements within that provider receive that context. So let's go to the child button. So within the child button, I import the Dojo context component here. And then I create a new variable, and I say, I've just created this just to differentiate it. I just written this with a lowercase d. So I say Dojo context equals use context of this Dojo context component. And then within this child button, what I've done is I've created a button, and then I can use that Dojo context kind of element, and I can use that set Dojo color, which I passed down from the index file, to change the color here to tomato. So you can see here, in here, remember I've got that Dojo context provider, and within this value double curly brackets, I've got the set Dojo, and that's being placed and sent through to here via this Dojo context component. Now, I don't know all the black magic that's going on around here or how it works. I don't even quite know the terminology, but I've used it a bit, and it makes a really big difference. I'll show you why when I get to skill tree. So within this child form, I'm kind of doing the same thing that I'm bringing in the Dojo context component. I'm creating a new variable using that Dojo context component. And then what I've got here is I've got a written color variable, and I'm using states to change that this written color variable. So I'm going to say in this child form, I'm going to change the color to blue. So you can see I'm just using a use state to change the written color variable. But what I've got is on clicking this child form button, I'm going to use Dojo context to set this color within the main page, the index page, to written color, to what I've set here. So in this case, it's blue. Let's try gold, blue. And I found that's like, I find it really useful, especially with skill tree. I use this this kind of pattern for passing down a whole lot of different skills, and I send through objects. And what I also find it really useful is sending through functions. So can you guys see? No, not that one. Can you guys see skill tree now? That time went very quickly.
We can add some more time. Let's add another 5 minutes.
Okay, that's good. So how I use that, how I used context within skill tree. Sorry, I get lost in skill tree because it's got lots of branches and leaves, and I struggle to find myself. Within the space, I've created I've used context with this tree context element. You can see here I've used that context provider here, and within the values I've added all of the kind of settings, or all of the variables, as well as functions that are required throughout the different kind of components. So I think it's for nearly every component or for nearly every modal, I use the handle close modal. So what I can do is I can insert it using context here. And because every modal uses tree context, I can always call that tree context. That's close modal, handle close modal. What's the name of that now? Oh, that's what I'm doing. Context. I can't find that. Okay, I'm using index context there. Let's go here. So true context handle. So within the space, I'm using this tree context.handle close modal. All I have to do is I have to set it once within the context, and then whenever I'm using context in any of the other components, I can pull it through. And what's great is those modals or elements or any of those children can use any of these items that I've placed through context. So if you're working in a smaller project, there may not be like a good reason to use context, but with bigger projects, it really helps. And also when your child objects begin changing your kind of main objects, or your child object begins changing other objects, that's when context really comes into play. Like it really works well. Well, I don't know if you guys have any questions, thoughts or suggestions.
Not at the moment. I'm big to play with it. Looks amazing.
Yeah, so that Dojo project, I've been thinking of setting up a Dojo for myself, a Dojo app, and then I just practice things like repetitively, writing things here and there to help me code. But that's something that's that piece of code I can just push up, and then you can like dissect it and play around with it. Okay, let's jump into Skilltree and some of the UI stuff that I've been working on. So I think I've gotten Skilltree to a point where I'm quite happy with where it is at the moment as an MVP. There are some rough edges, which like it's okay, I can live with those. But like I think it's kind of good to go. So I'm chatting to Warren, and when he's ready, he'll look at helping me kind of push it online for like an alpha testing. So I added this little kind of pull out modal, and adulting. I added this new section here, and previously when you clicked on this button, it would only open up a modal which would allow you to create a skill. Now this could be a bit irritating if you want to use a skill that you've made elsewhere, or just say Rian's written up a skill for cloud that was like really useful. Maybe like Rian's written up a skill on use reducer. Cloud, okay, cool. We've got that. I'd love to grab it, but now to create it, I have to rewrite everything. So what I did is I built this little repo thing, and this is like a library. And when you go into the library, you can access a whole lot of skills that have been saved to the library. Oh, by the way, you can save skills by writing up a skill, and then you click send skill to repository. Actually, let me see what happens if I click on this. And when you go to your skill and you click send to repository, you can choose which repository to send it to, and it'll send it to that respective repository. But this is the UI thing which I quite enjoyed making. So this is nearly like a library system where you can take out elements and then put elements back if you don't want them. So let's just say you want to learn how to chop veg, and then you also want to learn about Redux, and then you say, okay, Google Charts and use Reducer. Now, if you've got, you can see here that you've checked out these items, but now they're disabled, so you can't add them. For the active items, you can still add them. You can add them in here. But now just say you've realized, geez, this is like too much. I won't be able to handle all of these. You can actually click on these items here and then put them back into the library. And then when you add skills, these skills are pulled from Firestore, and then they are placed into your skill tree. Let's actually just test that quickly. I'm going to add this to, let's actually go to life hacks. So you can see there's just one skill here. I'm going to add to from the repro. I'm going to add this guy, and let me add JavaScript. I'll add skills here. And you can see here that those were pulled from the library. So the one thing which, Rian, how am I doing on time?
It's done, but you can slowly wrap up.
Okay, yeah, I'll begin to wrap up now. The one thing which I came across, which was quite tricky, was that I had this kind of system which had the skills that were set up. But when I created it, I had to create a new kind of array of objects here. But I also needed to create a bit of a history so that when I clicked on one of them, it would be sent back to the right place. And that was the thing which just wrecked my mind. Like, I really struggled with that. But what I did is, when I'm creating the skills, when you click on a skill, it creates like a history token that remembers the skill and remembers its placement. And when you click it, this object is spliced out of this object. And then because it's got like a history token, it's kind of remembered, and it's kind of reinstated into the place that it's supposed to be. And yeah, that was my little UX thing, which I had a lot of, I had a lot of pain figuring it out, but a lot of joy when I managed to figure it out and get it working.
Nice one, Kelvin. I think that's common though, isn't it? That the outcome is much more rewarding than the underlying.
It's wonderful looking back when you're like, oh wow, that was such a great time.
Exactly. Yeah. No, well done, dude. It's quite fun to be seeing. The one thing I can say about your app is most of us have watched it from when you first started it. So it's great to see this progression. I think it's one thing to build different things like every week and all of that. And it's like, well, but what's the end goal, and it's another to do what you're doing, where you keep learning, and whatever you learn, you sort of incorporate it into an existing app and demonstrate that progressive nature of your application. So yeah, just want to commend you on that.
Thanks a lot, Kyle.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch. We like the part of the behind the scenes of the making of story. And we get to see it unfold. It's pretty cool.
Sure, I wish. Then I'll make it big and I sing on the stage. Yeah.
Who's going to play you in the movie?
He's going to, Jackie Chan, of course. Come on.
I was going to say Pitt, but anyway.
Pitt, yeah.
The Brad.
Pitt's, his jaw is too strong. My jaw isn't that strong.
Yeah, he's got all the jaw. I don't know how I managed.
Sure.
Cool, man. That was amazing. So there's only only a few left, actually, but I think one of the ones that I mentioned was a VS Code tips and tricks thing. I've got a few that I want to show you guys, and then everyone else can also jump in and add if I missed anything. And the other one was some of the new DevTools stuff that Chrome has brought out. That could also be a combined one if I miss anything. But Ruth, do you want to do your workflow one, and then we'll do those other two?
Yeah, I can do it. Okay. Hopefully I don't take too long. I don't know. Okay. So Webflow, it's pretty much, how do you, okay. Let me just, yeah. You can go to one of two ways. You can either use like a page that's like pre-made already, or you can just like start from scratch. So I'm just gonna do a start from scratch one. So what's nice about it that I've learned so far anyway is that you can do drag and drop. Like over here, it has elements that you can choose from, like a section, like layouts, and like basic things that you need in a website, like divs and lists and things like that you can use. It also has the headings and like things, elements like that. On the left over here, it also has a little navigation thing. So when you add things to your page, they'll get populated under body over here. Then we have a pages section. That's when you have pages. This part, I'm not sure. Oh, sorry. Then there's an e-commerce thingy if you want to go that way. And then there's also like assets thing for your pictures and videos and things you want to add. So I'm just going to do like a small demo. So I'll start with adding a section at the top. So I'm going to do a hero thing at the top. So I'll first start by adding a section, and then in that section, I'll add a container. So just drag it in. So it like highlights it so you can see where your little blocks are. And then I want to add a heading. I can go over here to add, scroll down to typography, and I can click and drag a heading in there, and boom, magic. I don't have to write tags and things, which is nice. Maybe I want a little text box thingy. Maybe I can add it on. Yeah. Let me do it this way. Do it like that. Oh. Okay, wait, undo. It's first go text box. Maybe we can add a little text there. It says hello. Hello. Then we can add a heading, drag it inside the container. It also highlights nicely so you can see where you're placing your little elements. Yeah, another trick I learned is if I want to add like padding to the container, for example, when you select it on the right, you can add styling to it. So you can play around with the layout. So that's like a normal box layout. That's like kind of like flex. This is like a grid and things like that. So that's pretty cool. You can do those things over there. But I want to add some padding. Just gonna undo that. So you can, it shows the little graphic thingy. So you can see where you're changing margins and things. It also has a little drag uh, scroller, so you can like see what it's doing live, which is I think is a really nice one. But I really like the one where you can click options or alt on your keyboard and then hover over like the padding top, and then it adds padding top and bottom like that, which is I think is so cool. Yeah, let's make it 50. Over there. Yeah. And then I didn't think of adding an image. Let me add an image. So if you want to add assets to your project, you open up the assets bar and you can drag an image that you want to add, and it's that easy, and it's like, and it's readily available to use after it's done uploading. So yeah. In the meantime, we can, another nice trick is you can go to body, select body, and add fonts to the entire project, so you don't have to change each element that you want. So you can also add Google Fonts as well, which is available. And you can add a font that you like, for example, Poppins. You can add the things that you like, the font weight. So if you want 100, 600, whatever, you can add it and it's done. And you can go back to the project and it's available for you to use in the font section. There you go. So now you can select body, and then on your right, the styling pane comes up and you can scroll down to typography and go and select the font that you just chose. And it applies to everything in the body, which is nice. Oh, another thing. Okay, let's go add our image now because our image is ready. So I'm gonna drag the image inside the container that we created. And it kind of like fits in nicely. I can go ahead and add the padding again if I want to add more. Like that. Can edit our text, so you double click and then write whatever thing you like to write over there. Ooh, which is cool. There's also a nice thing that it has where you can save like the little headings. For example, if I want to use this again, I could either create a symbol, which I haven't really played around with yet, but a nice one is if I want to add another image with the same properties, heading with the same properties, I can do that. There we go. There we go. I can do that and then select that heading item and then go to selector and select all H1 headings, and it applies the same class name. There we go, that one has. So if I change the color of this one to green, for example, it is not changing, but it was working the other time. Okay.
Welcome to presenting. It never works when you present.
Hold on. Okay, that's fine. But I tried it earlier and it was working. It's fine. But yes. Another way of working in, let's just delete that. Another easier way as well is to use the layouts and elements that they have already pre-installed. So like over here in layout, sorry, there's like already things. So like if you want to create a hero, you don't have to do it from scratch like I was doing. You can just come over here. Let's add a, let's do this one. Yeah, let's do another hero. You can just drag it over there and just edit from there. It has like padding and things like that. So you don't have to worry about all the little intricacies in like little details and things like that. But it's also nice to start from scratch, I guess. So it's like very easy to edit. Yeah. You can have the image, just drag it, drop it. The thing with this way is you have to be aware that there's already like predetermined what do you call this, details. So you have to play around with it a lot and then to get the result that you want to get at the end of the day. So yeah. I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
It's super cool. I actually read the other day that someone tweeted that they learned, they just realized like after 6 months of using Webflow and then starting to switch over to writing actual code, they realized Webflow taught them how to structure CSS, how to write the stuff even, because all the properties that you are setting on the right there, they just link to CSS properties.
Yeah.
So you see the immediate effect of changing those properties while you're creating the page. It's pretty powerful. And I'm feeling a little bit less bleak about Webflow now. I've been quite negative because we stuck with it until the site goes live. But in the meantime, it's not a bad system. They freaking nailed it actually.
Yeah. I think it's nice for someone that's like learning to like design and things like, or like someone that wants to design something immediately and they just want to see it happen and not have to worry about closing tags and things like that. Yeah. It's really cool.
Awesome. Good job.
I think it's good having extra people that know how to work Webflow, because I think for the longest time everyone was like terrified of Webflow. We're like,
Yes.
oh no, if we have to do anything with Webflow, we like stuck. I'll build a component and I'll like look up some hectic, packages, but don't put me on Webflow. I'm too scared of Webflow.
It's so bizarre, but it's because of the immediacy. You make a change and then it's live. Or you can go to staging first, but there's no testing on a local machine. And that always that mental thing, it freaks me out.
Yeah.
Cool. There's a mysterious lady behind you, Ruth. Never seen her. She a new person.
I don't think.
Who knows?
She's just in the office.
I think that's Bridget.
I don't know.
Oh, NRL. Well, yeah, it could be.
I think, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, we'll see on Friday. Meeting is going to run out. Shall we just rejoin the same one?